Welcome to this episode of the Firm on Foundation podcast. I am your host, Iconic. Joining us today, back with us for the 1,000th time, actually it's like the third,
For sure
is Cleo Hawes.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm doing well.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
me again and again.
Thank you for coming back.
For sure.
We appreciate it. You look fresh today. I'm feeling the specs.
I appreciate you, Brother Malcolm. Trying to channel it.
Was that the vibe today?
Yeah, I mean, one of us had to wear the glasses,
Because usually I do, right? Okay. I'm glad you recognize that.
Work it out.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're going to work it out.
So let's real quick do a little icebreaker.
Yep.
We're going to do rapid fire. It's
Okay.
called rapid fire. So what is a toxic trait about you that nobody would know unless you told them?
I hate being ignored.
Okay. That's fair. You want to know mine?
Go ahead.
It might be a little TMI, but I'll go ahead and say it. It's fine. I use a lot of toilet paper. I do.
But it ain't toxic. That's actually
A lot.
clean.
I like to make sure I'm clean. Okay? Sometimes you have certain situations where said toilet paper is necessary. Like I said, that may be a little TMI, but I would say that's something no one would ever know unless I told them. Oh, I use a lot of toilet paper. Going around clogging up toilet. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's a toxic
toilet
trait.
paper than not enough toilet
Yes.
paper. I mean, the antithesis, it's not going to really work out well for you or your nails. I mean, that could go way wrong.
No.
Way left real quick.
Oh, okay. Moving on.
I mean,
all right.
My fault.
That was a perfect segue
Sure.
that we are going to discuss today about letting go. Jesus?
Yo.
Okay. I just thought of that on top of my head. Doosh doosh. Okay. So as we're going into a new year, 2025, you hear all this new year, new me. The gyms are about to be flooded.
Sure.
I'm already irritated.
For sure.
It's fine. I'm proud of everybody wanting to, work on their physical fitness, but those of us who go regularly, this time of year is not our favorite because the gyms are so packed and all of that. But with that being said, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions. We know they do not keep. But for me personally, I'll be completely transparent and say, I hate New Year's. I hate New Year's Eve.
Really?
I hate New Year's. I always have.
Why?
A huge part of it is, to be honest, it probably is just some work that needs to be done into me because I do think I can be attached to some things too long, and going into a new year just forces you to take inventory of things you could change, do better, people you could let go, habits you could let go, places you need to stop going, words you need to stop saying, like things about yourself. So for me, I just think, let's be real. It's comfortable to be in a certain place for so long. And when you're almost forced out of that, or you have to think forward, it's just like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. I got to change this. I got to change that. Of course, it's usually good.
Yeah.
But I hate New Year's because of that. It's almost a little cliche as well. That's why. It's like you have to change. Well, let me be real. From December 31st into January 1st, any true change is not going to be made. It takes time. But the fact that it is forced upon us, I don't like that. I also don't like all the cliches about the romance around New Year's, people getting proposed to and all this. You need to spend somebody on New Year's. I just think it's kind of cheesy to me.
You need the couch back there to lay down real quick?
No.
Or are you good?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm more than good.
Okay.
I just think it's a little cheesy.
Okay.
Just a little cheesy.
You think so?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I kind of lean into time. When I say that, I mean like segmented time. Metrics of time, rather, meters of time, measurements of time. There we go. Days, weeks, months, years. Because of God is into numbers. There's a whole book in the Bible called Numbers 1.
That's right.
But also, God is very particular about time. You notice in the Bible, after Jesus fasted in the wilderness for 40 days, the number 40 is very significant. I just turned 41 this year, so I was really into numbers and things like that. So I kind of lean into it. I'm not into numerology or anything like that, but I lean into it because sometimes you have years where it's like, I got to wrap this shit up. Like this, whatever I'm dealing with I have to put a hard stop to it. So if you want to use the end of the year or the top of the year to kind of recalibrate and
Sure.
kind of start over, blank canvas your life, I'm all for it. I'm all
Right.
for it because sometimes we go through silent battles in a year we don't ever tell anybody about.
Mm.
So sometimes when you see people leaning into the new year, new me, or
Mhm.
but also some people don't have that discipline like you and I to go to the gym once that motivation runs out. So
Right.
they need that extra push of okay, new year, new me, and they join different groups, or they join different communities or
Mhm.
whatnot to be able to kind of maintain and keep that going. So
Sure.
it doesn't bother me. I see that
There's ups and
it
downs
makes you
to
feel
it.
some type of way, but
No, and on the other side of the coin,
mhm,
I absolutely think that we need to be pressured sometimes to make
yeah,
certain changes. So I'm not fully against it.
okay.
I mainly spoke on the downside of it.
Mhm.
Um, but what would you say when it comes to letting go of old habits, possibly people that shouldn't be in your life? They may be negative, they may be toxic, they
Mhm.
may just be like a leech and they're just sucking away your energy or your
Or
time,
their
or
time might just be expired in your life.
their time may be expired in your life. And that doesn't mean that whoever that person is maybe is the worst person in the
Mhm.
world. But why is it so hard of letting go, in your opinion, of any of those things or people?
It's what we're familiar with.
Right.
What we're familiar with, we're comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
and some people just don't like change.
Mm,
Like especially the older that we get in years and age,
exactly.
we get set in our ways. We get
Mm.
used to people, places. We go to church, we sit in the same seat. We go to the restaurants, we get the same
Right.
food. Like
Right.
because we're so used to being comfortable. Never mind wherever you go. If you go to a theater, for the most part, no matter where you sit, you're gonna receive the same type of content. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, it's just you're comfortable sitting in a certain seat. You're comfortable sitting at a certain distance. But my point is, it's just a comfort thing. And most people, um, or some people, not most,
Mm-hmm.
some people only adjust when life forces them to adjust.
Mm.
And so for us to voluntarily make an adjustment have to happen, it's kind of like, nah,
Right.
I'm cool on that. Like, I'll change, if something in my life changes and it
Mm-hmm.
makes me change or let go of something. But as opposed to us doing it ourselves, I'm not necessarily just looking for things in my life to uproot
Mm-hmm.
and change. I'm actually looking for how do I keep myself comfortable with this person, with this job,
Mm.
with this position. But comfortability is the enemy of progress. So you want to be comfortable or you want to progress?
So you're annoying because God is my witness. As you were saying that, my next thought, literally, the words that were going to come out of my mouth is being accustomed to comfortability
Mm,
makes change the enemy. So you really said that exactly what I was going to say. I'm not lying.
I'm not tripping.
It's so true.
Yeah,
It's so true.
yeah. But again, like it's comfortable.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got to go home and change right after we get done shooting this, and I really don't want to. Like
Hmm.
I just want to keep on what I got on
Right.
because I've already had this on. I feel like I'm settled in it for today.
Hmm.
I gotta go home and put on a whole nother different outfit for something else. Like,
Right.
bruh, and that's something very small, but it's just change.
It's change. And God calls us to change, though,
Mm-hmm.
because He's a big God. So if we're not open
Yeah,
and willing to change, that means we're thinking too small.
you get the God that you seek. You seek a little
Exactly.
God, you get a little God. If you seek a big God,
Hmm.
you get a big God. But with big God comes big changes
Hmm.
because God does big things.
Hmm.
Like, so again, you want to be comfortable or you want to progress. And most times, if you want to progress, change and letting go of things,
Mm.
but it also goes to show though is like with the seasons. Like as I look, I don't know if we can see it on camera, but as I look out this window, like since we've been shooting episodes, this weather has changed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's cyclical.
Hmm.
So it's the same thing in life. You have fall seasons, you have winter seasons, you have summer seasons, you have spring seasons.
Hmm.
Spring seasons are when things are budding in your life, things are starting in your life. The
Hmm.
fall of your life is when things are starting to fall off and shed and you outgrow different things. The winter season is it's necessary, but it's very desolate.
Hmm.
So those changes, I don't want to live anywhere where it's summer all the time.
No,
I don't want to live
I'm good
anywhere
on
where
that.
it's winter all the time.
Fall.
Fall,
I'm cool
I
with
could
fall all the
probably do
time.
fall, to be honest with you, for
Hmm.
sake of like fashion, comfortability,
Sure.
the weather. But even with fall, I probably would want a hot day every now and again. I would probably
Yeah.
want a cold day every now and again.
Fall fashion is that girl. I
It,
love fall
fall
fashion.
fashion goes
And
hard.
I'm a fall baby. My birthday's in October. I'm a
Yeah,
Libra, so I'm fine with it being fall
yeah,
year round.
yeah.
Um, and what you made me think of was with change, we can miss our mark
Mm,
if we're not willing to rise to that occasion
yeah.
of change. You don't want to miss the bus. If you're so comfortable and stuck in your ways and stuck in your corner, no, I'm doing this way.
Yeah.
I'm good how I am. Are you? Or could you progress and grow? It doesn't mean that you're not good,
Mm,
but if you want to be great, you got to get uncomfortable. So actually
yeah.
today, this is wild because I didn't plan necessarily to bring this up. So long story short, I recently applied for a podcast conference because they
Mm,
were going to select a certain amount of podcasts for the podcast platform Buzzsprout that I'm on. And if you're selected, they're going to cover like your ticket or whatever
oh,
to
that's
the
love.
podcast
Yeah,
conference.
yeah.
And literally on my list, because I make lists, everything big, little, small, in between that I've achieved. I am a visionary. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a visual person. So I made a list. I want to start going to podcast conferences more. Within these last 2-3 weeks, if I can't sleep at night, I'm scrolling podcast conferences in the United States. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to develop and perfect my craft.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm serious about this. So long story short, Firm on Foundation was selected to go to, it's called
Congratulations.
Podfest. Thank you. It's
Hey,
called Podfest and it's
big
in
God, big
Orlando.
things, big
Oh,
change.
nothing but God.
You know what I mean?
So next month in Orlando,
Yeah,
I'll be going
that's
and
live.
I'm really excited. So
Yeah.
my point is when I was oh,
Hey.
you still processing
Yeah,
that, huh?
for sure. That's dope. Like,
It is.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I'm very grateful and I'm hungry. I'm anxious
Mm-hmm.
to learn and become better and create more impact and, absorb the information, knowledge, get those tools. So as I was booking my flights today,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I noticed. And I've always noticed this when booking flights, but it actually is relevant to what we're talking about. The earlier in the day that you want to depart
Mm-hmm.
from your location, right? It could be 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Oh, it's cheaper.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
cheaper to book an early flight.
Yeah, for sure.
But the later in the day that you wait to depart from your location, it costs you more to get to your destination.
Because it's less time to execute that which you want to do in a certain amount of time.
Correct. And it's more desirable to wait later. Who wants to get up at 5 or 6 a.m.? But my point is, you don't want to miss your mark. It could cost you more.
Yeah. Yeah. You not doing,
Mhm.
we're going to stay right here on this example.
Mhm.
This is great.
Mhm.
You not doing what you wanted to do or knew you needed to do in the allotted amount of time.
That's
and you
right.
waited till it was 3, 2, 1. Just like in life, we don't know how much time we have left in life to live.
Mhm.
If we knew our end date, we would operate in our daily life so much differently.
Mhm.
But we think we have way more time than what we actually do, though.
Right.
And then the kicker is this: even if you do have enough time, what could you have also added on the back end of that if you just started at the beginning? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's very simple. If we both go to Miami tomorrow,
Mhm.
I'll leave at 4:30 in the morning. You don't leave till 4:30 in the evening. I'm going to experience Miami way more than you are.
It is. It's like the early bird gets the worm.
Very
Who's up
simply
at
put.
5 a.m. meditating, working out? Some people do cold plunges.
Yeah.
You're journaling, you're praying, whatever you may do.
Mhm.
Don't you think those individuals are going to be more productive in society and in their life than someone who sleeps in until 12 or whatever and doesn't have a routine?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not judging because I'm still perfecting my routine.
Mhm.
But generally speaking, when I'm on top of it, I'm a 5 a.m. person. I do meditate. I do journal. I write in my gratitude journal.
Mhm.
And I try and do all these things before I wake up my daughter and get her going. So
sure.
especially as parents, that time and that schedule and that structure, oh my gosh, is highly important because
Yes.
if you're off, oh, they're going to be off too. It can slow down your
It's
whole
a domino
morning
effect.
for sure.
Yeah.
1,000%. And that's also modeling
Mhm.
for my child, or if you have children, to have that routine and structure. It makes things a lot smoother. And I know it's not easy. So just stay at it, be consistent as possible if you're in that place or predicament where you're trying to, establish a morning routine or evening
Yeah.
routine, it's a lot. And it takes time. Like the only reason I can kind of do it now is
Mhm.
because it's been a while. It's been some years.
Yeah, to circle back though, like as far as like letting go of that
Hmm.
the old mindsets that we have,
Right.
I think sometimes it's because we don't see in real time the productivity that can be had if we let go of those old habits.
Mm.
So it's not until back to the example that I use, it's not until I watch or you will watch my story of everything
Hmm.
I accomplished by getting to Miami or leaving for Miami at 4:30 a.m.
Hmm.
that you might be thinking, all right, next time I go to Miami, I'm going in the morning.
Right.
Because I see now how much was accomplished in the
Okay.
time and that margin that you
Hmm.
wasted pretty much. So
Hmm.
when we see other people in the productivity that comes from their change,
Sure.
I think it's a lot easier to adopt to it as opposed to just kind of winging it. You're like, bro, like as long as I get to Miami on Saturday, I'm cool.
Hmm.
Like, but you missed this, you missed that. You know what I'm saying? You could have seen different things, experienced different things. And back to a bigger example, just in life,
Right.
it's like what could we have accomplished had we started sooner?
Mm.
Had you delayed, what if you would have delayed your podcast until 2025? You would have missed the opportunity to go to Orlando.
Exactly. But everything is always right on time. That's why I
As long as we
say
are obedient.
if you're obedient
That's a
and you
conditional
don't miss your
statement.
mark,
Yeah.
when your intuition tells you to move, move. Don't delay. And that also is a practice that takes time because I haven't
Yeah.
always been on top of it. And I'm going to tell you right now, the season I'm in, this holiday season is pretty rough for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first Christmas. This was the first Thanksgiving without my father who passed earlier this year. So what I will say is that event, I heard God talking to me so much more. That truly was the catalyst for starting this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
for putting my thoughts and the vision for the podcast
Yeah.
to action now. Do it now. So, what I will say is if you are grieving, if this is a tough season for you as well, find a way to do something or get into something you are passionate about and repurpose your pain for good. That's my advice because that's what I'm doing. So, you
Yeah.
don't want to miss your mark. You want to make sure when you feel led to move and act,
Mm-hmm.
do it. Don't drag your feet. And it will be uncomfortable. And it is hard because you may like sitting on the couch eating potato chips and cookies and Wingstop and all this stuff, but you can't do that forever. If you want to move in life, there's times for that. There's nothing wrong. No
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that's doing that sometimes too. Okay. But what I will say is trust yourself. And I think that's a lot of the reason
Mm-hmm.
that people don't act and move when they feel like they should. They don't trust themselves that they can succeed at a certain level beyond what they know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I'm learning firsthand. I think we all are. And I think that the importance of, back to my point about, booking the tickets,
Mm-hmm.
is it earlier? Is it later? That's something else I'll say. Now, for people who are choosing to be productive,
Mm-hmm.
they take that earlier flight. They don't miss their mark. They move when their intuition tells them to move instead of being delayed, right? And expecting a reward. People want reward when they're moving and acting in a delayed manner,
Two
right?
two words. Procrastination cost
It does.
in a lot of different areas.
And this is why procrastinators cannot get mad or hate on people who are choosing to be more productive or act and move on their passions or on things that potentially may irritate or trigger people's insecurities because they're not doing the things within themselves that they know they should do. So when they see other people either shining
Mm-hmm.
or just out there moving, just trying, we all just trying out
Just
here,
in motion.
just trying and in
Yeah.
motion. There's a lot of people who aren't right leveling up or moving in that same manner, that are quick to criticize, quick to judge, quick to have something to say, and they're sitting back in the peanut gallery, right? But if anything, hopefully you would think people that are choosing to be more productive will inspire you because that's the bigger purpose without all that other
Yeah.
stuff to
To
make an impact to inspire.
Yeah, to pivot on that point,
Mhm.
I just want to. I'm gonna stick on the me side of it. Like,
Sure.
I'll just use myself as an example. If I choose to procrastinate, making a move that I know I need to indefinitely make. So basically, if it's going down, I should have been got it over with.
Right.
But I choose to procrastinate, then I throw off the rhythm. If I choose to, if we'll say if God chooses to procrastinate ending winter, that throws off everything.
Okay.
It wrecks spring, which causes discord in summer, which causes discord in fall. So my point is, sometimes when we procrastinate, we don't really realize that we're throwing off our next because we're procrastinating with a dead thing. Like, you know that the relationship needs to end. You know that you need to leave the job. You know that you need to start different eating habits or whatever the case, whatever the example is, and it's throwing you off for what your next season is because the season you're in is already dead. So why are we dilly-dallying and procrastinating with a dead thing? Whole time our minds made up, the situation is already settled, but the last thing to leave is us.
Yeah.
Like, and that procrastination costs you way more than what you really realize it does, because while you have somebody else in somebody else's seat, while you're going to a job, you're also in somebody else's way. If you're stuck at a job, if you're at a job that you know you need to leave, that means the job you're supposed to be at is not functioning how it should be functioning because you're not there yet. Meanwhile, the seat that you occupy, somebody else's seat. But we don't think like that.
Right.
We're just still stuck on the comfortability of whatever we're in and not wanting to change and move forward. When the only thing that's constant in life is change.
Literally.
That's an India bar. So shout out to India. If you're watching this, follow us. Follow her, not me.
I got you. I would say too, something I hate is when I hear people say, I'm too old for this. I'm too old for X. You're never too old because the things that you are supposed to do, you will do them when it is time. However, to your point, you don't want to procrastinate forever because if you're procrastinating, not only can you miss your mark, but then you're sitting there getting mad at yourself and judging yourself. Oh, I should have did that. Well, it's too late. It's not too late. When are you willing to change? Now, it's like here's how I'll say it. The decisions you make today, you either are going to move forward and progress, or if you regress, right, and you procrastinate, you just may have to work 2 times harder to get there, wherever there is. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you didn't have to work that hard. Had you listened to yourself and acted sooner, acted faster. Now you making up for lost time. It doesn't mean it's impossible though. So never give up. But that's why you got to move. That's why you have to do things. You have to try things. If it doesn't work, you keep moving. You don't stay in that place and in your feelings like, oh, this failed, so I'm not going to do anything. Oh, I'm too old and I have other younger people are trying to get that degree. I'm too old to go back to school and get that degree or start that business. No, you're not.
Life is for the living.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like life is for the living. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to be alive, it's a whole other thing to live.
Sure.
Like, so you're never too old for anything. Like the education, getting a higher education is not for the dead. That's for the living. So how can you count yourself out or stamp yourself to have been expired when you're still alive? You still got a chance for whatever it is to have a kid, to be married, to get a higher education, to start a business, to travel, to change your life, your dieting, your eating. It's not too late for any of those things. That's a mentality. That's a handicap in your mind. More than in my opinion, like more than anything, that's a handicap in your mind. Like, for a person to have that mentality for real.
But the problem with a lot of us is we mourn things that have already passed. We mourn things that are dead in our lives. I don't mean that in a physical sense, right?
I know what you're saying.
I mean relationships that they have expired. They are at their end.
Yeah, for sure.
A job where maybe you've already served your purpose. It's at its end.
Yeah.
Right? It could be like we talk about bad habits. That bad habit could be you need to change your diet. All right, you sat and watched other people work out. You scrolling on Instagram, watching other people's fitness videos or reels too long, knowing you should be out there putting in work. But you're too comfortable, right? And you're mourning the fact that, oh, I'm too overweight. I'm too out of shape. I'm not able to do this. you're mourning instead of moving forward. And that's the issue with a lot of people. You can't mourn, you have to move.
Not only that, we cannot get stuck on a diagnosis. Like
Exactly.
we get so excited for
Mhm.
the diagnostic of whatever our problem is when we get to the bottom of why we
Man,
are how
what?
we are. I got it from my mom, I got it from my dad.
Mhm.
This was missing in my life when I grew up, or I grew up in this neighborhood, or I'm of this income level, whatever the case is.
Mhm.
And we stop there, like that's gonna remedy it.
Mhm.
Like, no, that's just nobody goes to the doctor just to find out what's wrong with them to be like, all right, then thanks.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
nah, bro, like what's the prescription to get this done?
Mhm.
But with our minds and our emotions and our spirit, we don't always go all the way through and complete the work.
Mm.
So it's getting beyond that diagnostic of I need to lose weight.
Mhm.
Okay. And then what? So by day, I'm a mentor. I run a mentoring department department for one of the biggest agencies in America. And I work with teens all the time. And so they crash out. And so they get mad, they crash out.
Crash out.
And so I gave them 3 words to think about. And like
Mhm.
some of them have came back and told me, like, man, Mr. Hawes, that really made me stop in my tracks. And that is, and then what?
Mhm.
Like, and then what? If you can't answer that question, and then what, with a good response, it lets me know whatever came before that is probably a bad idea. Like, man, I'm about to crash out. Okay. And then what?
Exactly.
I'm about to eat this ice cream and sit on this couch. Okay. And then what?
Mm.
So I think that that's bigger picture. It's because what it is widening the lens for them to see there's life beyond whatever has been in front of me just immediately right now in
Mm.
real time. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm.
So it's like, to your point, why people can't move or why it's hard to let go is because the perspective is too acute.
It's too narrow.
It needs to be way more
Mhm.
obtuse. It needs to, because okay, I'm about to stay at this job
Need a wider
for
lens.
5 more years.
Jesus.
I'm about to be in this relationship
Mhm.
for how long? Okay, and then what? I'm about to go over his house tonight. All right, and then
Well,
what?
that's the problem. Enough people don't think about what's next. They're only focused on what's now.
Which makes it easier, I believe, to stay stagnant because you're not looking. You're
Absolutely.
not looking past.
Mhm.
Like, now, granted, there are things in life that require short term vision. Spring break vacations.
Sure. Jesus.
Because we was talking about Miami earlier, and my
Mhm.
mind was still there. I'm coming back.
Mhm.
But there are certain things that require short term vision.
Right.
But for what we're talking about in context, I think it's because the lens is not wide enough to really realize, okay, this is a sequel. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? This is not just an isolated story or isolated chapter. This is chess. This is
Mhm.
not checkers. I'm not just making moves randomly.
Mhm.
Chess is a thinking person's game. You
Exactly.
set moves up 5, 6 moves in advance because okay, after this play, I'm going here. Just in case
Mhm.
this happens, I'm doing that. But when you don't think ahead, I think it's easier to stay stagnant. I think it's easier not to let go. I think it's easier to just remain versus growing.
Right. Something really important that you stated when you were speaking on people staying stuck in that diagnostic,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned something about the prescription. I don't think there's always a prescription. I don't think there always is a remedy or a
Mm.
cure
For what?
for either the reason people feel stuck or they're too whatever, right? They're too old, they're too overweight, they're
Mm-hmm.
too if maybe they're struggling with something mentally, which is a real thing. It's
Yeah, for
nothing
sure.
to be, made fun of,
Mm-hmm.
but they're too whatever, caught in this disorder, excuse me. You're not to anything. Now, every situation respectively may have its challenges, sure, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But I think and believe that your gut will tell you everything you need to know and your intuition. So
For you,
I don't think
you have
there
a
is
woman's
a,
intuition. I'm just, men, we don't got that.
y'all have it. Y'all just don't want to use it.
Nah, y'all like X-Men. Y'all got different. Y'all got powers we don't have. Like
Well, this is
a
true.
woman's intuition is something that
This is
men
true.
do not have.
Yeah. But I think that your
So
intuition
except
is,
being an X-Man,
no,
because you're an
I'm not
X-Man.
going to do it. I'm a Power Ranger. So,
Whatever,
yeah.
X-Man, Power Ranger, Marvel, you
Mhm.
have an extra layer that we don't have.
I think that
X-Man.
your intuition is the
Mhm.
cure or the remedy, not a quick fix or trying to take a diet pill or trying to do these things
Mhm.
to supersede or zoom past what you need to learn. That process, people don't want
Skipping steps.
to. They're skipping steps.
Mhm.
People don't want to invest in the pain with the process. They just want the results. So with that being said, we are going to lead into the segment of the show, Firm and Free.
Mm-hmm.
So what is something that you would like to be, what is something that you are firm on and something that you would like to be free from?
Going into 2025,
It's
I want to
fine.
be.
Not get on my nerves. It's
I
fine.
want to be free of the last word, like legit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you say something to me, I've got something to say back.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, like probably save like 3 people who are all probably over age 70. I'm not gonna go back and forth with them in my life. Definitely want to be free of getting the last word, or feeling like somebody got over on me and I let them.
Okay.
I want to be free of that, just because some things don't be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
What I am firm on, staying pure. Staying pure in everything that I do, in my intentions, in my execution, and things that I subscribe to do, things that I let into my life, things that I move out of my life. I just want to make sure that I'm moving with my intentionality to be pure,
Sure.
not out of perfection, out of a spirit of excellency, but just pure though. Like,
Okay.
and when I say pure, I mean like, it doesn't have to be a lot of quantity. I'd rather have quality over quantity.
Right.
So like, I'd rather have 3 good friends than 10 mediocre friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather have 3 pure friendships than 10 associations and a bunch of pictures that just look good, but we not really gang.
Right.
What about you?
I am firm on owning my uniqueness, my authenticity. I am firm on
Good for you.
knowing that I am enough. In fact, God said that I am more than enough. So what I would like to be free from would be living in the past, allowing past situations to be my identity. It's not my identity. It was an experience or a situation that happened to me. It does not make or break me, because who God called me to be is who I am.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's better than a lot of the situations in the past that I did allow to be a part of my identity. And that was internally. So maybe I didn't speak up when I needed to speak up. Maybe I didn't present myself and walk in a room as strong as I needed to, knowing who I am and knowing who God said that I am. So now I'm not focused on the past. I'm focused on the future, because my story isn't over yet.
Not at all. Nowhere close.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. Likewise.
For sure.
So we are going to end this episode how we end every episode, with our mantra. I am powerful beyond measure. The things that I say, think, and do will reflect that. I know who I am. I own who I am. Cleo, thank you so much for coming back and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. If you are tuning in or listening, I appreciate you. And remember to stay firm on your foundation. Thank you so much. Y'all have an amazing day.